All right, folks. Yeah, Jack Goodwillie here. Jeremy Brand. ADCC 2024 is upon us in a couple days. Friday, we got the announcement for brackets. Saturday, we've got the day one. Sunday, we got day two. We got super fights on day one and day two. Jack, we're going to go through the list of ADCC divisions and figure out who we think the strong suits are. I didn't have any of the odds for this one. I know I did CJI odds and predictions the other day, but I think, I'll just shoot from the hip here for this one and figure out who we think is going to win in each division. So, moving on over, we'll start from the lightest weight classes out. Talk to me, Jack.
Yeah, so we've got obviously you guys can see the list of names here. The names that stick out to me are obviously Diego Hayes, excuse me, the 2022 champion of ADCC. Owen Jones is someone else that I've gotten to watch a little bit, and then also Ashley Williams. Diego Pato, obviously, could be a contender here. Yeah, it's tough to say, not knowing the matchups, of course. I think Pato's got a chance. He's I've gotten to cover a couple grappling events that he's been a part of, and he looked to be pretty informed.
Yeah, I think this division is the one that stands out probably the most in the ADCC tournament, just because it's the lowest below what could have been at CJI. Like, you wouldn't see any of the under 66 kilogram guys competing at the under 80 kilogram at CJI, really. I mean, we might have seen Ethan pop over, but there were so many B team guys there already. As you said, Diogo Hayes, the ADCC 2022 champion, obviously is going to sit at the top in terms of rankings and whatnot. I think a guy to look out for is DeAndre Corbe. He's part of the whole conceptual approach. He does the ecological approach of grappling. And I think he's a guy that has surprised a lot of people out there. His game is super technical. He won USA trials. And he's a guy that I definitely look out for. He doesn't train in Canada. He's from Canada. Obviously, Ethan is a guy to look out for from B team. He trains with beasts. And, this whole bracket, I think, could go any which way. Kennedy Maciel, obviously, he's a Brazilian trials winner. Uh, a guy who could easily win this as well. It all depends on how the bracket shakes out. But I think if I were to pick maybe three names to podium, I'd say Diogo Hayes. I'd say Dorian Alvarez, because his game is just so technical, and he doesn't like to be entangled at all. He's a guy who passes from the outside, camps a little bit, and then just continues to back up and then move in. And I'd say I'm going to go out on a limb here and say DeAndre Corbe. So those are my three. Who are your three?
I go Hayes. I would go Pato, and I think you've sold me on Corbe a little bit. That's very interesting. The beauty of the ADCC is that, particularly in these lighter weight classes, where the skill level is just so high, a lot of it really just comes down to luck of the draw. Who's going to match up with who. But that's also, I think, the beauty of this competition specifically, and one of the things that can help the sport grow. One of the things that helped the UFC was, I guess, the unpredictability of things, and I think we get that with this. With the lighter weight class here. I like Pato, though. Looking at his record, he has actually taken out several members of this group in the past. Now, you're going back to 2022 with a lot of these results.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, going to be some sort. There's going to be some sort of not a mental edge, but knowing that you've overcome this before, you can do it again.
And ADCC, we'll move on. Just we've talked about this division a ton, but ADCC is a different beast in itself in terms of competition. Game planning has to come into play because half of the matches there's no points, then the other half there is. So it's a tournament where game plan comes into effect for sure. I think a lot of this division is going to come down to who outworks the other the most. And I think we see guys who are going to capitalize on submissions come out of this division and be on the podium. So move forward. We got the 77 kilogram division. Jack, this one is just as stacked. The only thing we see different in this division is the fact that it's all invitees because a lot of the guys jumped over to CJI.
Yeah, remind me, Jeremy. Who won this division 2 years ago?
Let's have a look. It slips my mind. ADCC 2022 77 kilogram winner. Kate Rutolo.
Okay.
And
That makes
obviously,
sense.
both Rotolo brothers jumped over to CJI. $1 million on the line. Not surprising at all.
Yeah. No, not at all. One of the names that well, there's a few names that stick out to me here. Gary Tonon's obviously the big name. But Oliver Taza is a name that I've gotten to cover a bit on various grappling events over the past year or so. And another guy who looks to be in form. He's won his last 5 tilts. He's won 6 of his last 7, going back to about a calendar year, actually. So I think he'll be a name to watch out for, as will Wagner Roca, who's always in the mix here.
It definitely is. As you said there, Gary Tonin, obviously a guy who is very he's decorated in terms of grappling. He knows what to do. He knows how to get in there and get out of there. His defensive grappling is great. Do I see him podiuming on this card? I actually don't.
What?
No, I don't. Not with the names on this list. If I were to pick 3, it's actually none of the trials winners. If I were to pick 3, I go JT Torres, Mika Galvao, and Dante Leon. Those are my 3 to podium on this bracket. I think Dante is just so damn good. Another Canadian training out of the States. He trains with Daisy Fresh Boys a ton and the Pedigo Submission Grappling Team. He is just so technically sound. He doesn't leave a lot out there for guys to capitalize on. He's tough to pass. Mika Galvao, we've seen, do his thing. He's a submission ace. He's going to get in there. He's going to tap guys out from anywhere. And JT Torres is just the most decorated guy in this entire division, I think. So those are the 3 that I see podiuming.
Interesting. Yeah, I would go. Excuse me. I would go Galvao. I'd go Torres, and then I'd look out for Taza too, just because of the form. By the way, Galvao, one of his most recent defeats to Cade, and Cade's obviously not competing here. So, yeah, I like those 3.
It's funny that they have Taza with an American flag here because he is Canadian.
That's what yeah.
But yeah, he's a guy to look out for. I just find the thing that I have with Taza, and I'm a huge fan, and I've seen him train. He's come up here to Vancouver and taught a bunch of seminars. Is I when he gets to the big show, there's a tipping point, and I feel like if he can get past that tipping point and maybe his own mental head game, he'll be fantastic. But he needs to pass that, and I'd love to see him do it here because again, I feel like these are like it's sort of an asterisk tournament this year. In terms of like the big guys moved over to CJI in some of the divisions, but if this were the year for Taza to make that sort of break, it would be very interesting. So moving forward, we got the 88 kilogram division. Again, this time we do have the 2022 winner, Giancarlo Bodoni. He's from New Wave. He trains with Gordon. He surprised a lot of people in 2022. Looked fantastic. And what do you think about this one, man? There's a lot of winners, trial winners, and a lot of invitees. And this division, it could go any which way. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, well, to address your last point, as far as just being an asterisk year, I don't necessarily look at it that way. One of the ways that this sport is going to continue to grow is by providing more opportunities for more people, and it's kind of a glass half full situation to me. It's opportunity for others to rise up, make something of themselves, and like you said in the case of Taza, if there's any stage to prove yourself that you can hang with the Sharks, this is it. So that being said, we've kind of like talked about little variants in the previous two divisions. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Bodoni defends his crown here. Just because I think you're going to get, someone to do that. And again, in form, former champion, knows what it takes. I think his experience will lead him here.
I like that pick. There's a few guys in the division. I'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Some names, obviously, J Rod, B team guy. He could have easily gone over to CJI as well. That's an interesting name in the mix because he's so scrambly and very tough to sort of deal with. Giancarlo Bodoni, though, is so he's huge for this division. And if he gets that pressure passing game going, it's going to be tough for any of these guys to deal with. A guy who's been around the block for ages, Elder Cruz, could surprise some people. I love Isaac Mitchell. He Asian trial winner, used to train with Craig and the B team and stuff. And this guy is a firecracker on the mats. His wrestling game is so good. And obviously, we have, the Hillbilly Hammer, Jacob Couch, who could do very well in this division, too. We saw he's a winner of the trials. Last year, he didn't win trials. He ended up losing to one of my hometown kids, Harrison Woods, at the trials. So this one, Jacob Couch has a fire lit under his ass. So I could see him podiuming. If I'm going to pick my three to podium, I'll go Giancarlo Bodoni at the top. He defends, like you said, Jacob Couch, and oh man, I'm gonna say J Rod. I think he's gonna surprise some people in this one. But we got guys like Josh Hinger who could do very well as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bodoni. Isaac is someone that I've actually gotten to see as well. Gotten to cover, I think, for a Polaris event a year or two ago. Very impressed with him. He only loses the studs, so I'll go with him. And then, Felipe Costa is an interesting name as far as just moving down in weight. We'll see if he can parlay that into a little bit of a run here.
All right, let's go moving forward here. 99 under 99 kilogram division. We do have Kainan Duarte defending 2022 ADCC champion. A ton of trials winners. I think there are some guys to look out for in this division. Obviously, Nicholas Marigali is a name that tops this list as he's been training with Gordon, and they're saying this guy's going to double gold at ADCC, and what's going to happen. It's only his second party to Nogi. So interesting names on this list. We've got some serious veterans with Cyborg and Lovato. Man, I think a surprising name. I'm going to go. Okay, I'll make my three picks for the podium, and I think Marigali wins this division.
I agree.
He's just so technically sound. He doesn't try to go too far beyond what he knows is going to work, but what works for him, and I think that's what's going to get him first place in this division. I will say Kainan Duarte probably makes the finals against him, and I'm gonna jump out on a huge limb. I'm gonna walk, like a plank into sharks here, and I'm going to say Michael Pixley takes third place in this division. He's a guy from Pedigo Fighting System as well. He's the, Daisy Fresh guy, and his judo game is so good. Judo and wrestling, his stand-up is crazy. He's got some serious front headlocks, his Darce chokes. He surprised a lot of people at the trials. I believe he's only like a blue or purple belt, and he's out here winning trials and going to be in the 90 under 99 kilogram division. So he's going to be my third place winner in this one. A stacked division, but I think Michael Pixley's going to take bronze.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Marigali winning. The guy's a winner. I mean, if you look at his record going back 3 years, even before past ADCC, I mean, his only losses are to Yuri Samos. He's not competing here. Bodoni, he's a weight class down, and then Craig Jones, who's obviously not competing here. You'd have to go back to Eric Muniz for his last defeat. Yeah, I think he'll clean up. I think he'll take this. You obviously can't count out Duarte. I mean, he's a defending champion. Also, someone who has got the jump on Nick Marigali in the past. And then outside of those top two, I would say that there is going to be someone that comes out of the woodwork um, to bronze, I guess. So Pixley would be a name to watch there. Lovato's always dangerous. Cyborg's always dangerous. But I think definitely in the case of Lovato, you have to wonder how age is going to, play a factor with a field of so many young talented guys.
Definitely. And you see this list, and like, I mean, there's only a handful, not even a handful of American competitors in this division. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys do. It's going to be interesting to see how the trials guys do because, like I said, the two out of the three winners I think in this division are trials winners, but there are names out there that could definitely get the job done. Plus 99 kilogram division. This one very very interesting in terms of names on the list. The invitees, we got a ton of guys that have competed against Gordon. Well, Felipe Pena in particular, who is in this bracket, but also, going to be in a super fight as well. But I, I think this might be one of the tougher divisions to pick just because of the unknowns. A lot of these guys have not competed at ADCC before, I believe. And I think that we're going to get some names that could definitely be surprising on the podium. If I were to pick my three, oh man, this one's like I could pick. Yeah, I have no clue. I honestly don't know who to pick here, but I think I can't pick gold, silver, bronze. I'm just gonna pick three names that I think will podium, and I think Big Dan gets on the podium this year. Very surprising because he's very young, but he's proven that he's as strong as they come. He's got a good stand-up game, which ADCC shows you need, and I think his submission game is just as on point. I think Hecky gets on the podium as well, European Trials winner. And then my third guy that I think will get the podium, I'm going to go Josh Saunders just because he's strong, he's big, and so I guess I go one, two, three. The three top three trials winners up there. I think those are the three guys that are going to hit the podium. I think there are names that got invited, veterans like Vinny Magalhaes, Felipe Pena, and Roosevelt Souza, who could make it, and then another young guy who trains with Gordon and these guys as well, Luke Griffith. Like there are names out there on this list that could make the podium, but I'm just gonna go with those top three there.
Yeah, I agree in many respects. I'm a big fan of Big Dan. I think that he's going to, get some nice accolades here. Just the amount of skill that he packs into his frame is insane. He's one of my favorite grapplers to watch on the male side. Josh Saunders, someone I've also gotten to cover before. Very talented guy. So I think that I think he'll probably I think Saunders takes it over Big Dan in a final, depending bracket depending, of course. And then Luke Griffith, yeah, I mean as far as his training pedigree goes, I think he's a good dark horse here.
Nice. All right, moving over to the women. Obviously, less competitors in these divisions. 8 for the females under 55 kilogram division. I got to go with Margot. on the podium here for sure. Uh, Maisa Bastos will hit the podium, and I'll go Jasmine Roca. I think Margot's just so technical. Her game is so good. I know she's primarily gi. She did win the trials here, but her no gi game is just as good. But I think she podiums, and I think she probably takes this division.
Yeah, I think I would agree. This division is probably my biggest blind spot of this year's ADCC. But I have gotten to see her compete in the past, and once again, a total winner. So, I mean, I think it's her. This is gonna be her bracket to lose for sure. And as far as anybody that could file in behind her, I think it's pretty open. Um, I look to the trial winners to make a statement, namely Anna Rodriguez and Jasmine Roca.
All right, as you said, sort of a blind spot. So let's move to the under 65 kilogram division. Again, trials winners. I got to go with Canadian Brianna St. Marie to win this division, followed by Bia Muschetti. And I'll go Helena Craver as, not really a dark horse, but like 16, 17-year-old kid who is just training with beasts and will likely dominate the bracket until she makes it to either the semis or the finals. The game she has is very omniscient of, John Danaher, her, Gordon, all those guys training together. And I think she could even be a dark horse to win this whole division, but I think Brianna just has the age and definitely the experience factor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bia Mesquita. I believe she was bronze at ADCC 2 years ago. I believe she lost to Fiona Davies, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I lean on the experience there. St. Marie's obviously a very talented grappler in this division as well. Um, and then I'm going to go Amanda Levy, probably behind them. She's someone who I think has a very bright future in MMA as far as her willingness to engage. But her bread and butter is her grappling, and as a fan, but I also think from a talent standpoint, I think this could be a good forum for her to showcase what she's got.
Nice. And the plus 65 kilogram division, we have the 2022 champion at plus 60 kilogram division, Amy Campo. This division, interesting to say the least. I don't think Campo is returning champ in this one. I think we see a
Mm-hmm.
new champion. I think if I were to pick, I'm gonna go Rafaela Geddes to take this division as an invited guest. Um, just
Interesting.
sort of a toss of the coin in that one. I think we do see Campo make the medal round. I don't know whether she makes the finals or not. Kendall Reusing, obviously, someone that you got to pick. She's got the experience. She's always around the game, and Maria Rufato, I think, could do very well in this division as well. So the three that I'm going to choose in terms of my podium, I'll go Geddes, Campo, and Reusing.
Yeah, it's interesting here. Kendall Reusing is someone that I think you picked her, if I'm not mistaken, in this division 2 years ago.
I did.
Her big, yeah, her big competition was Gabby Garcia, and I don't think we
Big
ever
is
got.
right.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think we ever even got to see that because Kendall tore up her knee. Um, it looked like it. I mean, things are looking good for her though. She was looking very strong. It looked like it was going to be her year. So for me, this division really kind of depends on if she can mentally recover from that. Campo obviously picked up the scraps last year and was able to get the job done in this over 65 kilo division. Um, I like a good story though. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. You root for these big stories, and I think Kendall getting the job done here is the big story. Campo will certainly be in the mix, as will Guedes. So I'll go Kendall.
For sure. All right. Now the big one of the mix. We got the super fights, Saturday and Sunday super fights. Obviously trying to take away from CJI. Um, we've got Gordon versus Felipe Pena, I believe, is the Saturday night match. And Sunday we got the big one between Gordon and Yuri. Does Gordon? I mean, it could get so interesting, man. If Gordon loses on Saturday night to Felipe, like, what the heck happens?
I
Does
was
he?
wondering.
What's that?
I was wondering that.
Like, does he just? I don't know. Well, to be honest, I can't see him losing. He's not going to lose to either of these guys. It's just too soon for like. Yes, he's still got stomach issues. Yes, health is still a problem with Gordon, but he's still by far the best grappler in the world, bar none. Uh, and I think the only guy behind him will be Nicholas Marigali when he continues to move up these Nogi rankings. And if we could see those two compete against each other, it would be insane. Do I see Felipe beating him? Nope, not on Saturday night. That's for sure because the Felipe hasn't had anything for him for years, and Gordon's just continued to get better. Sunday night against Yuri is an unknown. Do I see Gordon losing to Yuri? Yuri's got power. Yuri's strong. Yuri's technically sound, but he's not Gordon Ryan. I see Gordon tapping both of these guys out. It's not going the distance. It's these guys are both getting finished.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to add to that other than, look, the fact that Gordon is slated to defend his super fight title twice this weekend, and like you said, we don't really know what happens if he loses his first fight. It really just tells you what ADCC thinks about these matchups. The Gordon is, going to be massively favored here, either way. And that's not to say that Samos or Pena are slouches. They've both beaten a lot of talented guys, but they haven't beaten Gordon Ryan. And I see Gordon rolling here. I don't see any other outcome.
No, I don't either. And that does it. Those are our 2024 ADCC picks. I will ask you quickly about CJI. More specifically, I'll just ask you who you think wins the super fight between Gabby Garcia and Craig Jones. I'll ask you the four. I'll ask you the super fight between Craig Jones, Gabby Garcia. Give me that one first, and then we'll move on to the super fight between Fionn Davies and Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, sounds good to me. It's a weird one. I'm going with Craig Jones. Craig he's not just a man. This is not just a man grappling a woman. These are two of the best at their craft. All things equal, I think you gotta go Craig. But it's gonna be fun to watch. That's for sure.
I was and in my video, I think if you're gonna betting money on Gabby Garcia might be the best pick of the night, just because I believe she's a plus 1100 underdog.
It would be a wild story if she was able to defeat Craig. I mean, that would get some serious coverage, I think.
It definitely would. All right, so the other super fight that we've got is Fionn Davies against Mackenzie Dern. Interesting matchup. Mackenzie just beat Lupi Godinez a couple weeks ago in the UFC, coming over to take on Fionn Davies. It's sort of, the rising of the guard. Fionn is so damn good. And again, her technical prowess, training with JT Torres and stuff back in the day. She's leveled up her game immensely. She was a winner last year or 2 years ago at ADCC, and she's just the female grappler of right now. And she's taking on Mackenzie Dern, who's from the past. Does Mackenzie have anything against her? Not necessarily. This is sort of her match. There's nothing like Mackenzie has nothing to lose here other than losing a grappling match. She's an underdog in this match against Fionn, obviously. How do you see this one playing out?
I'm going Fionn Davies. Just based on the type of activity both have been doing. We don't know what kind of grappling Mackenzie's been doing. Obviously, when you're as talented as she is as an MMA fighter, you don't there's not really a ton of grappling to be drilled. I know she's working on her hands a lot. I also know she has nothing to lose here, so maybe that benefits her. Maybe that closes the gap a bit. But it's tough to see Davies losing here.
And then I guess I'll ask you the under 80 kilogram division, over 80 kilogram division. The brackets are very interesting. Obviously, in the under, we've got Cade and Ty on opposite sides. We've got, guys like Nikki Ryan, uh, Joseph Chen, who I think will probably do some serious damage in this division. Who's your pick for the under 80 kilogram division?
I think there's a very high likelihood. Again, a lot of talented names here: Nikki Ryan, Andrew Tackett. I think it's set up to go Ty versus Cade in the final, and then I'd probably lean Cade over Ty.
A fair pick. I think this is arguably the deepest and most stacked division of jiu-jitsu or grappling we have ever seen in a competition.
It really is.
It's crazy. All right, over 80 kilogram division. Again, some great names. Who's your pick for this one?
Yeah, I think I'd have to go Nicky Rod or Victor Hugo. I'd probably go Nicky Rod. No Gordon Ryan here to thwart him, so I think he's got to be the favorite. And guys like him have shown that they can compete at a high level. They've won several competitions and accolades in the past, and I don't think this is going to be anything different.
Yeah, I think those two, I'm pretty sure if you look at the betting odds, I think Nicky Rod and Victor Hugo are the two favorites for this division. And I am pretty sure in my picks, I have them going to the finals against each other. I can't see it going any other way unless there is an upset. And you never know in grappling, anything can happen, injuries can happen. But I do see Nicky Rod getting the job done, taking home the $1 million. And who knows what the heck he'll do with that. But but yeah, so that does it for our picks for ADCC. That was an in-depth breakdown of the ADCC divisions. Some quick picks for CJI. Jack, thanks for joining me today, man. Just let the people know what you got going on and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me here to talk a little grappling. Yeah, you could go ahead and follow me on all social media platforms at Jack Goodwillie. As far as our ADCC coverage, I will definitely be doing a bracket reveal Friday night, going over some of the matchups. Citing some of the things we talked about today, and then I will be providing some Craig Jones invitational coverage as well. It's going to be a packed weekend for grappling. This is a huge weekend for the sport, and I hope that it comes out of it in an even better place than it has been. It's one of the fastest growing disciplines in the world, and yeah, if you're a grappling fan, enjoy.
This weekend's going to be fun. That does it. We've done our ADCC breakdown of divisions, CJI quick picks, which I've already done, but I got Jack's picks. Make sure you check out Slappy's, the best vodka soda in town, and follow MMA Suck on all platforms. Enjoy the weekend, folks.